Hey y'all, how you doing today? I'm starting a video here today that may span over a few days just because this project has taken on a lot more work than I originally expected it to. I don't know if you can see my 80s square body C60. I'm turning into a flatbed. Some of the things that I've already done is there was a small piece here on the bottom that I cut off with my Dremel to make it flat, and that was mostly because the bed was originally going to sit way up here and it was just going to be too high. Well, more like right up here. So anyway, I've dropped it down to where it's just going to be right in there. It's probably going to be a little higher than that because I'm going to have to put some support in there because it doesn't sit very flat. So I got to put something in there. I can't cut this piece because that's what holds the cab to the chassis, so I can't cut that. So lowering this has caused a problem with my headache rack. If I put the headache rack on, so you can see I've already cut it because I have to modify that too, but it's basically it's going to be too short, so we can't have that. So we got to have the headache rack just a little bit above the cab. So what I have devised is a couple of sticks here. These are craft sticks that I bought at a hobby store, but to be honest, they're about the size of a matchstick if you have access to matchsticks. So we're just going to put those two spacers in there, then glue the top of the headache rack back on top there. Sorry guys, I'm trying to hold it so you can see it, but my big fat fingers aren't going to allow that to happen. So you just have to imagine it's going to raise it up now above the cab. Once I paint these two pieces aluminum to match the rest of that, they're basically going to disappear. You'll barely even know that they're even there. So then we're going to do that. I got to figure out which toolboxes I want to put on here. I've already cut the chassis of the truck itself. This is the rear section of the chassis that'll go under the bed. I got to build a couple shims for that so I can even that up with the other chassis, and then we'll get that all glued on. And you can see the axles are going to be right here, almost in the middle, which is where about they should be. Excuse me. I ended up, this was the same chassis that my tanker was on. It came with the silver tanker. So I took that off, and I'm using the same chassis, so I had to cut a good, you see, a good ½ inch, maybe 3/4 of an inch out of the frame so that this would line up the way we want it to. So that is, like I said, this is a pretty big project to take on. Try to make this look right. This is going to take some time. So this video I'm going to try to spread out over, I guess, probably a couple of days while I get this all glued up. And then we'll go back from there. I'm also working on a couple other projects. I'm throwing this around in my mind, whether or not I want to paint that up and put that on that dually. That might look pretty good. And then I just got a couple other projects here. Now I got a new building back here in the back, if you can see it. I've got too much crap in here. Actually, there is something else I can show you that I've been working on. So I took a lift and I shortened it. Well, I lowered the ramps on it, I guess you could say. Oh, by the way, I got a new 18 van. Imagine that. So I took a regular lift. We'll use a blue one so that they both look identical, or close. There's the regular lift, the way it came. And what I did is I basically just flipped the legs upside down. So I've took the main leg off, these two front legs. I have to glue the ramps back on because they won't work now since I modified it. But I basically just took this and flipped it completely over and screwed it back on upside down because these have screws in them. So like I said, I just flipped the leg completely over, took it off, flipped it over, and screwed it back on there, which allowed it to drop. See how low it is now? I'm going to do one like this because once I do a diorama and get that all set up, that's probably going to be about this height you'd want it if you were doing, say, brakes or alignment or something like that. And then I'm also going to take one and I'm going to lower it all the way to the ground to have one lowered. Now when you do this though, you're going to have these spikes, the legs that were originally on the bottom, they are now going to be on the top, so you probably look better if you try to grind those off a little bit. I'm sorry I can't focus this in today, guys. There we go. Grind those off a little bit, flatten them down, maybe touch up a little bit of paint, and then you'll have yourself a lowered ramp. Like I said, I'm going to do one that goes all the way down. I also had to do some hacking in here. You can see I had to cut some of the arms off so that it would fit right. So I had to cut all those extra arms off, and then I also had to shorten the top here, cut, I don't know, a good 1/4 inch off of that. And then once I get that done, it'll all look good. Probably going to want to do some glue into this too, just because it's still a little weeble wobbly. I haven't worked all the bugs out of it yet, but that's the way it's going to go. I still got to grind these two tabs off too. So like I said, that's what I'm working on here. I'm going to cut back here. I'm going to try to do all this in one video. We'll see how that works. I'm going to cut back here in a little bit and show you where I got with this truck. We'll go from there. Y'all have a good day. Bye. Okay, here's a little update on where we're at here so far. I thought just for the heck of it, I painted the seat inside just to have something in there that'd pop a little bit. I just painted that a rust color because I thought like a dark brown would be too dark. So I just painted it like a rust color, just to have a little color in there. I ended up cutting the tab that holds the back of the cab down. I ended up cutting that tab off because I just couldn't find a piece that was going to work. So I found a small craft stick that I glued in there into place. What I did is I glued the interior to the cab itself, and then I glued that to the chassis, which will hold the truck together. So that allowed me to eliminate that tab. I've already got the chassis glued to the bed, and now it's just a matter of lining everything up and gluing it all together. See, the frame's going to line back up almost perfectly. Still going to have that crack in there, but trick to hide that is we're going to put some toolboxes on there which will hide that seam, and you'll never even know it once it's done. I got the headache rack extensions glued on there and painted. Now all we have to do is put the top on, glue that on. I could do a little sanding on there. I'm probably going to scrape that with my hobby knife a little bit to get some of that extra glue off of there, or maybe it's extra paint. I'll scrape that off of there and touch it up with a little paint. That'll just about make that disappear. Then once I glue the top of the headache rack on, we'll have another headache rack that'll be above the cab. Sorry, I know I can't hold this the best. So it'll be right in that area, somewhere in there is where it's going to line up on top. So got those are basically just drying so I can glue those together. I told you before, like I said, The tires that are on this truck are off of a Fall Guy truck that I lowered. Took the Fall Guy emblem off of it. Sold that pretty quick. That went pretty well. Somebody liked that. Anyway, so these are the tires off of that. And then I had this, it was the toy show truck, number 20 for 2020 toy show. And I crappily painted it black, and you can see a lot of green in there still. So I stole the tires off of it. What I'm doing with those tires is I want to make a dually on the back. So what I did is I took this really tiny drill bit, which is just so happens to be the same size as the axle, and I drilled a hole in it. So now all we have to do is shove it all the way through there, and now we have ourselves a set of dual axles. And all we have to do is just glue this inside tire to the axle, and it'll be fine. I drilled, like I said, I drilled a hole all the way through the center of it, starting obviously from the back side. And just slip it on the axle. I'm probably going to have to make a longer axle for this, because I don't think, yeah, I'm going to have to make another axle for this because this one's not going to be long enough. But that's what the tires will look like. Well, actually, wrong. Let's get the right tires here on the outside. We're going to use the chrome ones on the outside, and then we're going to use the white ones for our inside tire. So there, that's how it'll look. Like I said, and with the hub from the other wheel, that makes a perfect spacer inside. You just put this one on just like you normally would. I'm sorry, I don't know if I got this thing zoomed in or what, but it's not cooperating. See the hub sticking out there just a little bit. And then this one has the hub on the inside. So you just put those two together. It gives you a perfect spacing. You could run it this way, I'm sure. Then your tires are just touching, which I guess that's not a big deal either. But realistically, there is a little bit of a gap. Even though that is a little bit big, there is a little bit of a gap. I may even cut that down a little bit. So anyway, that's where we're at so far here. We'll check back in with you once I start gluing this together. Like I said, it's just going to be mostly, we're going to put a ton of glue here on this edge of the bed, some glue here on the edge of the frame. And we'll do the same up here. We'll put a lot of glue up here on this ledge, a little bit of glue on the frame, and then we'll put all that together. And then that's going to have to set and dry for a few hours because you don't want to mess with it after that. So that's the hardest part, is getting that together. And then it's just the touch-ups, the details. I want to get some mirrors on this truck. I want to put a tow hitch on the back. What else do I want to do? I'm going to load this truck down with my welders and everything else. So we'll see how it happens. All right, bye. Okay, so I have gotten most of this truck finished. If you know me, I always get sidetracked on different projects, so I've added a trailer to it. I added a excavator on that trailer. Let's knock one of my toolboxes over. That might be upside down. Anyway, I took one of my gooseneck trailers. I put an excavator on it. I got her all chained down. I still have to come up with something to make binders with. As you can see, I got it all chained down up there in the middle, up here in the front, both sides, and I got tension on it, so you can't really tell, but there's a little tension on it. Then I put a fuel tank on the front of the trailer. Thought that might not be a bad idea. Okay, so as for the truck is almost done. I just knocked the toolbox off again. Toolboxes They are just sitting in here because I'm not exactly 100% sure if those are going to stay. So again, those are just sitting in here. It was a regular 1/64 scale toolbox, and then I found in a set of HO scale trucks that I had, I found a HO scale side mount toolbox that fits right on top of that one. So I didn't think that looked too bad. And to be honest with you, that covered the crappy job I did on the wood back here, because that just didn't turn out as well as I thought. I was going to touch up the paint, I just haven't done it yet. Then I found this ball in that HO scale stuff that I bought, and it's actually a lot bigger than the 1/64 scale ball. So what I did is I drilled a hole. Oop, there it went again. It's on the floor now. Excuse me. Take this out before it falls out. It's bigger than the 1/64. So I drilled a hole in the bed, and then I just stuck it down in that hole and glued it in. I glued sideboards onto this truck. I put some side toolboxes onto this truck. I made it actual duals with the tires and wheels that I stole off the Fall Guy truck. I made and installed custom, mud flaps. That's just made out of polystyrene sheets. And then I have tons of 1/24 scale decals for this, that, and the other. And I pulled those two out and I put those on. I thought they looked pretty sweet. So I still got to do mirrors on this truck. So far, I think that these are the mirrors that I'm going to go with. Hold on, I'm just trying to get a hold of it. These are mirrors off of a HO scale semi. And these are the closest thing I found that may fit that truck and look correct. I took some 1/64 scale truck mirrors, and they were just way too big for this truck. So I'm going to try to figure out how to make these work on here. And it'll have CB antennas too, which I really like. And then after that, she should be just about done. I'm still waiting on some parts I ordered a long time ago, with generators and all kinds of stuff that I may outfit the bed of this truck with. But that ball is also, like I said, it's so big that I had to take my drill and I had to drill out the hole in this gooseneck trailer so that it would sit down on there. But you factor in how small that ball is on the back compared to how big the ball is in the top. They are obviously different scale sizes, but if you play around with them and you want to screw around with your trucks like I do sometimes, just to see how they're going to work and react, that little ball wouldn't hold up. This one I can move around anything I want. Like I said, I drilled a hole and recessed it down into the bed, so hopefully that'll never come out of there. You'll never know it because it's up under the frame of the truck. Yeah, this is the way we're sitting so far. I think once I get some mirrors on there, I may want to paint the sideboards. I don't know what I'll do with them yet. But all in all, I think she turned out pretty good. This is a very expensive build. This whole build cost me a lot of money. But I think the end result turned out pretty good. Tell me what y'all think. Y'all like that? Try to do something a little different than what I've been normally doing, but again, resources are getting hard to find right now. Yard sale season's over, and the stores, you can't count on the stores anymore. Internet, I've ordered stuff off the internet. Some stuff comes quickly, and some stuff, like I said, I've been waiting on a particular order of some accessories for over a month now. Well, about a month now. I ordered them the same time I ordered the auxiliary fuel tanks and those other toolboxes. Ordered them at the same exact day. And I've had those toolboxes for probably at least 3 weeks. So anyway, I'm just saying, it's getting tough to find stuff to work on right now. If you do find it, it's expensive. So hopefully I'll come up with something. I do have a few trucks coming. Hopefully they arrive soon so I can have something to build, because I am just about to the point I don't have anything I want to tear apart and build. So y'all have a good day. Yep, talk to you later. Bye.